put it in closer. It fills the whole screen.
Yay.
Do-do-do.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to do the Truman Show, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's when, like, different movies pop into my head, like, every time we do this. Mm-hmm. I cut myself off with the camera a little bit. I'm gonna...
Oh, yeah.
Y'all hold on.
We're holding.
I didn't test.
Whee!
That's probably enough, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Test it. Try not to give anyone vertigo. But, that's a little better. Okay. We're filming on my phone, so it's like the minutest of little differences changes what happens. So, and this, look at the pretty yarn. White's pretty. Like, natural is pretty in comparison to other things. But instead of having that right in front of us, let's move that out of the way. But this, by the way, is what is in my top. This is the Fossette by Knitting McPurley. It is not available on Ravelry. The listing is there. You have to go to her website to buy it. And I made it with the Jody Long Summer Delight, which, if you saw our little update yesterday, and then I'll back up and introduce myself. I just realized I haven't.
We haven't even done our normal...
Hang on. Let me finish this sentence, and then we will. If you saw our announcement yesterday, we just put Summer Delight on sale for another week because we have all kinds of craziness going on at the shop. So, welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow.
The Dear Becky and Lizzy edition.
Because it's Thursday. We're all thrown off because we didn't film yesterday because there was just... Liz had packages. There was kerfuffle on the plaza. Not worth getting into. Come to Virtual Sit and Stitch tomorrow night and ask. And we might tell you then. There's stuff. So, and that's all we'll say. So I wasn't in a good mood to film yesterday. I don't know what that was.
Probably my bag. But,
okay.
We'll find out later.
Something fell over there. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm in a better mood today. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in downtown Brevard, North Carolina, which is sunny and actually going to be decently warm today, hence my t-shirt.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there. It's going to be like 70.
That's awesome. That works for me. So that means that my LON that I've been living in, because it's the last sweater I finished, is not going to work today. It's going to be too hot. It's right here. I just took it off. It's right here. So much within reach. But I'm wearing my Summer Delight. Even this one. So the Summer Delight is cotton with just like 10% cashmere, which gives it a little give, right? Little stretch that cotton doesn't usually have, which kind of relates to some of our question type stuff today. It kind of makes it fun to work with. And these colors are like solids. They're not heathers. They're not tonals. They are solids. And some of them are awesome. And some of them aren't cool when paired with stuff. And I'll reiterate what I was saying. Let's see, where did I put it? In the really quick announcement yesterday. The piece that I wore Tuesday, the Faye Summer top, that I am making in the powder pink. We sold out of the powder pink last week, like the day we put it on sale. And I've ordered another bag of it. I think it's either going to come in tomorrow or early next week. But it might come in, like, check the inventory or contact us if this is really what you want to get with that 15% off with the code product of the week if you don't see it online. Because just contact us. Because I'd like for it to come in while this is still on sale. And if it doesn't, if you really are jonesing for it, let us know. We'll see what we can do. This is the peach that we do.
The peach is so pretty.
The peach is really, like, look at that. It's just warmer. It's really close to the pink. It's just warmer. It looks more like the cover photo on the Faye Summer top. So know that this is one of our newest colors in it. It's really pretty. There's so many yarns in the shop that it's if this was in stock when I started my sample, I would have done this. But it's okay. What I have is still really pretty. but you know, it's that whole grass is greener thing. It's all over the shop for me. Ha! Anyway, okay.
When people come in and they're like, it's so overwhelming in here. It's like, yeah, we've been in here for like, you know.
We're a little numb to it, but
it's still overwhelming
still
for us,
a lot.
too, because it's like, ooh, a new color.
I want to do this. No, I want to do that. No,
when did we get this yarn? We've had this yarn. What? Mm-hmm. You know, like, yeah. We're kind of numb to it, but we're still overwhelmed by it at the same time. Like, it's weird.
I'm sorry. I just noticed someone walking up from one spot, having to go to the other spot. They had
I know. Comments.
This is the problem with the camera being where it is. I can see the plaza, and right now I'm like fixated on the plaza for lots of reasons. Okay, I'm already making it way too enticing to try to find out.
What is that?
What? There's something on my.
If
this is your new. Roses. Is this your new one?
Yeah, I finished this last night. I started it on Tuesday. It's one of my spring dresses. It's all roses.
It's pretty. Look, okay, the trim. Without flashing any, because you have an underskirt, so it doesn't matter.
Like 2 underskirts, so
that's really pretty. It's like a black, and like the background is like black, and then you've got some there's like a deep purple mauvey color, like of twigs, and then the roses with and the leaf color for the roses is like this almost like green straw olivey. So pretty.
And there's brown in there. It's cousin. It's in the same family as my Easter and birthday dress that I'm wearing next week.
Or so you have a palette going, like a coordinating. Like, yes.
Okay. Carol goes, didn't you get one with yellow roses? And I was like, I did, and I got the fabric, and I was kind of disappointed. Ordering online is always a little, you know, and I saw it, and I was like, it just doesn't look right.
Even with the best color, we've talked about this before. We'll take a minute on this, then we'll get to our questions. Even with the best potential color corrected photos, which we try to do, and some of my websites try to do that I order from. Some of them, I think they just put a bright light on it and take a photo, and then when it comes in, I am hopefully pleasantly surprised because it's different than what I thought I was getting. But even the ones that are trying their best, like ours, to color correct and make it as true to color on our end, we were talking with someone yesterday about how monitors and whatever device, if it's your computer, if it's your phone, if it's your tablet, your settings will affect, like, how bright your settings are. Like, if you have the night thing on, like, if you warm up your screen so it doesn't keep you up at night, it's going to change the color you see. And then there's actual settings you can put on your monitors to change things, and graphic designers know all the ins and outs of that. But most of us don't. So we don't know if it's off, and we don't know how it's off, and we don't know how to fix it. So
it's when people send a picture of, like, hey, I was looking at your website and I took a screenshot of the color, and it goes through so many different monitors before, you know, or monitors that, you know, it's
their
like,
lens, and then their phone, and then how we're viewing it on our phone. And I mean, y'all probably have experienced the phenomena when you take a photo of, like, you're knitting or something else, and you take a photo. I see it depending on the lighting, depending on how far away from it I am, will totally change what color it looks. And then there's, like, inside, outside. There's so many levels. There's so many levels to this.
And then if, like, we're looking at something through Zoom instead of film, you know, or Facebook Live, or, you know, everything gets completely,
There's your little crash course on that. All right, so let's start with the questions, and then if there's time left, you know, I pulled together a few more pressed flowers combos we could show off, but only if there's time. Okay, so we'll see.
We only have one email, but there's
multiple parts to it, right?
Multiple parts to it, which is fine. It's all good. So, hello. First of all, I enjoyed learning so much from your podcast. Thank you. I have 2 questions, if that is okay.
It's totally okay.
Totally okay. I am knitting a dog sweater or a dog snood for a golden retriever using size 10 needles and worsted yarn. I would like the finished product to be a little bigger. Should I go up a needle size or increase the number of stitches? I like the fabric with the 10 needles and don't know if going up to a size 11 would still hold its shape. And can you block cotton? A cotton knitted shawl. Thank you again for all your fantastic knowledge.
All right, let's do this in order. And disclaimer that this is our best assessment, and sometimes we're talking about theoretical knitting because it's something we haven't done, and we're just postulating, right? So,
I have played with worsted weight yarn on anywhere from a 10 to an 11 needle.
Mm-hmm.
It could work going up to an 11 needle. Like, I don't mind my worsted fabric on an 11. I'd try both, depending on how big the product is you're making, to see which, actually works.
I'm letting you, I'm trying not to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Because I'm going to be saying the same things. Anyway, so... See how I did that? You took a breath, and I didn't try to finish your sentence. I don't know why
I'm still gonna finish your sentence.
Well, it's not just her. It's like Carol. It's other. I don't understand. I don't feel like I'm pausing that long, but for some reason, everyone around me gets twitchy and wants to finish. It's not that long. You were just pausing longer. I swear. Well, from my perception, it's people get twitchy and try to fill in my sentences for me, and sometimes they're saying the same thing I would have said, and sometimes they're not.
You pause like you're trying to remember what you're talking about,
and sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not.
But we don't know. So we just guess.
So just no. Or you could say, would you like some help here? And I will probably still get annoyed, but I might say, no, I'm good. And then that time I will lose track of what I was saying.
That behavior modification won't work. You need a spray bottle.
I should bring a spray bottle to work. I had to, oh my gosh, I had to take my spray bottle with me to the door today. Because the cat was on my lap, and I kicked him off so we could go to work, and I gave him treats. I reward him when he gets off my lap when I ask. And he tried to attack me on the way out the door. Like, he kept running at me. Like, he didn't want me to leave. For someone who's so annoyed at me most of the time, he didn't want me to, like, the past couple days. There was one day last week where he actually, there's been a few times lately. I'm bending down to put on my shoes, and I hear him coming at me. And usually he stops. He doesn't actually pounce on me. But, I think he's upset when I put on my shoe. Anyway. Okay. So, backing up. Technical aspects of the question. The difference between a 10 and an 11 is 2 whole millimeters. Mm-hmm. It's from a 6 millimeter to an 8 millimeter. So, in theory, just changing your needle size should make a noticeable difference in size. Mm-hmm. I mean, not like, you're going to go from 20 inches around to suddenly 40 inches around or anything. We don't know the specifics of your pattern, but just changing needle sizes should make it bigger, especially because that's a leap in needle sizes. Like, it sounds like it's not a far leap. And like an 8 to a 9 is only a 0.5 millimeter. But a 10 to an 11, we're getting into jumping into leaping categories here. Liz has said she's comfortable with either one, but to address so that could work. I also want to acknowledge and address what the question writer is saying about I like the fabric I have now. That will potentially change. Depending on the material you're using, there's a lot of factors in that. Not all worsted weights are the same. So some will feel a lot drapier, and you won't like the fabric on an 11. I'm almost going to sneeze. I'm probably going to sneeze in the next few minutes. And if not, yay, I scared myself out of it. But you might like it. So here it comes. It's like...
There it is.
Got it out. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
So here's what I would say is I would test your gauge on the 11 before just diving in on the 11 and doing the whole thing. I would do a little square. And I know it's but I just want to get this done. But if you do a little square, about so many stitches wide, and I say so many instead of giving you a number, because it's hard to say, depending on your needle size, how many you would need. But I would do at least 20 stitches and try, knitting and purling a row. If the dog snoot is going to be stockinette, that's what I would do. Like all the V's on one side. and see if you like the feel of it compared to what you're getting with the 10 where it came out too small. And if you like the feel of it, if it's not too bad, you know, or if it's like, ooh, it's softer, it'll be great, then go ahead and follow the same instructions on an 11. We can't guarantee, like, there is some math you might be able to do off your swatch to see how much bigger it's going to be. Like if you see how many stitches per inch you're getting, and then take say that it's a circumference for the snood, and it's so many stitches, and you divide that by your new gauge on the 11, you'll find out how much bigger it's going to be versus what it was on the 10. The other option, like if you find you don't like this, like, and again, we don't know how complicated this pattern is, but if you like the fabric on the 10, but you want to make it bigger, then it's the same thing. You either are going to have to guess about how many stitches to add, or maybe do some math. Like if it's only, I'm going to keep using like nice round numbers. If it's only 20 inches around and you're getting 4 stitches to an inch, something like that, you know, then say you want it 25 inches around, then you need 5 more inches, and you know you're getting 4 stitches to an inch, so you're going to add 20 stitches to whatever the original count was. Now, the thing to keep in mind, if this is a snood, like when we hear snood, I tend to think of like a cowl you can pull up over your head. So it could be just a tube, right? Some people call a snood the thing that you put your hair in when you make it into a bun, but I don't think you have to do that for a dog. So I'm going to go with the cowl that maybe you can pull up over the head. If it's just a tube, then you don't have to really worry about anything else. If there's any shaping to this
or pattern
or patterning, yes, then you're going to have to also take that into consideration, or do some estimations or actual calculations on where you're going to put, like if the decreases were on each side, now you have a new spot to do decreases. If the decreases were offset in some way, or increases, you're going to have to redistribute, because if you follow the pattern as is but you have more stitches, it might get a little, little wonky, little cattywampus, that kind of thing. So that's where I fall on that one. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. It's a lot of people think that, at least people coming into the shop, when I mention bigger needles, they're like, oh, but you could put your fingers through that. And I'm like,
but can you?
But can you? Like,
if you muscle them. And sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't.
But dog nails are going to be different. So, that...
I think dog nails are going to get stuck on it no matter what if they're trying to get it off.
Yeah. But when people sometimes come in with bigger needles, they're or talking about bigger needles, it's like, oh no, that you could just put your fingers through it, and I'm like, here's mine, stick your fingers through, and they're like, and oh wait, so it's not as 2 millimeters isn't as big a jump.
Yeah.
For the stitch, just when you're looking at one stitch, as like going to a 15.
And I also would want to recognize this person may be going for, I need a denser fabric so it's warmer.
Yeah.
And that also depends on the fabric you're using, because even with a looser stitch, if it's like an alpaca or if it's got something else that's got grabby fibers in it, even with a more open stitch, it could still be very warm.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're going for, I like how it looks on the 10, because it still feels like I've got a decently filling stitch for the area, then go with that, So, I think that's where we're going to leave that one for now. But the second question, can you repeat it since it was short?
And can you block a cotton knitted shawl?
Big generalized answer, I would say, is yes. I think there's some intricacy that we don't know the particulars of that could change the outcome of that. I think anything cotton can also be blocked just as well. Not just as well, but, anything can be blocked. Even acrylic can be blocked.
You blocked your Zoe, which is cotton and linen.
Yeah, and I don't...
it made the color work lay flatter.
Oh, wait. Is it Zoe?
The yellow and red.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah. We are talking about the same thing. My brain farted for a second. It helped the lace work. The color work may have settled out a little bit. I can't say it changed a lot. Cotton doesn't have as much give as wool, which is maybe why that person is answering this question or asking this question. But it also depends on how the cotton is constructed. Mm-hmm. So we have softer cottons that are chainettes that are going to react differently to being stretched than a really tight twisted cotton, which is what most people assume when they hear cotton. They think of something with a really tight twist on it that may or may not, or if you stretch it, it won't bounce back, and who knows if that's what they're looking for. So it behaves differently than wool, but you can still block it and see what happens. You may not get the same effect as wool, and I can't promise it'll stay as long, but even with wool, some of it shrinks up or stretches out. And what I keep hearing people say about cotton is that it stretches out. That is not my experience of it. Doesn't mean it doesn't stretch out, but we could be talking about different types of cotton, or I may not be wearing enough cotton to speak to that. So, cotton isn't as fuzzy as wool, and that might be one of the reasons there's a concern it won't block as well. So
for any of my things that need to block, I generally look at it and go, do I need lace work pulled out? Mm-hmm. Are there any particular reasons that I have to block this? Mm-hmm. If I don't like the fit, like I want to add a little room for wool, I'm going to block it. But a lot of times you don't have to.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you haven't blocked. There's a handful of things in the shop I have not blocked. I'm trying to remember if I blocked my Sammy, I think I did.
Yeah.
My Soldatna. Trying to remember names of things. And this sweater. I'm pretty sure I blocked both of them. And it did help things settle. It might have stretched things out a hair. I don't think suddenly everything's oversized. Like, I think this fits me just right. This also has that little bit of cashmere in it. But again, it's hard to predict exactly what will happen with the cotton because we don't know what type of cotton you have. And if we haven't blocked that specific type of cotton, we may not give you exactly the right answer. I would say if you're aggressively blocking for size, like you want your shawl to be bigger, like, and stretch it out. Like there's at least one shawl that I have made almost twice the size by aggressively blocking it, but it was merino. So if you have, like, I don't think I got much more size out of the Zoe shawl that I made because there really isn't a lot of give to it. So it helped the stitches settle. It helped it look a little prettier. I don't think it made it that much softer. Like if I used and abused it and put it in the washing machine and the dryer and things, the linen might soften up.
The linen will soften up over time.
But one blocking didn't necessarily show my customers what will happen over time with a shawl. And it's hanging on the rack now. So I always worry people are going to feel that and think it's rough and not buy the yarn. And that could happen. When someone walks in and says, so is this soft? Is this yarn soft? I may upset people with my answer, but I say that's a relative thing. I think it's soft, but someone else feeling it might go, oh no, that's not soft.
Yesterday, your lesson, shout out to Anne. Mm-hmm. She
got quiet. She said Anne.
She was picking colors for her blanket, and she's like, do you like this color? I'm like, I can't answer that question because it's going in your project.
Yeah, it's like, I like it, but do you like it?
Yeah. Like, I was like...
We have to give people the confidence to say, that's cool!
She does oil paintings, and she's an artist.
And pastels, and her so sense of color, I think, is wonderful. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
we all get insecure.
When she looked at me and she was like, but do you like this color? I was like, I'm not going to answer that. Like, I'm just not. And she was like... We both laughed, and because she wanted validation in the colors she was picking, and I'm like, it works. I'm not going to answer. Do I like it? Yes or no?
When we answer that we think something is soft or we like the color, it goes one of two ways. It either validates what that person has already decided, and they go, "Oh, cool," or it's not what they wanted to hear, and they disagree with us anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's always interesting.
It's like, and it depends on the person as to whether I'll answer the question. Mm-hmm. Like with Anne, I know Anne. So it's like, yeah, I know you know color, and I'm not going to help you with this choice. Or, you know, if it's somebody, you know, else, I might say, yeah, I like the way the color fits in the palette. Or, you know, of course it's soft. But everybody's idea of soft is, you know, we have some wonderfully, wonderfully soft yarn that people are like, that's the scratchiest stuff I've ever found. We had a couple people who are like, baby butts and unicorn kisses is just not
soft.
Not soft.
And we think it's so soft.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that I'm always hesitant with Noro, because I'm just like, it's Noro. Some people think it's scratchy, and some of that's because there's little twigs in it. I saw a knit and chat where someone's like, oh my gosh, what is this? Why is this in here? And people were like, well, that happens. And, oh, I would never take yarn like that. And they must not have carded it well. And it's like, no, that's actually part of Noro's thing. They even have that in their emails now of like, they're trying to reflect nature. Maybe they are covering their butts because they don't feel like fully processing the yarn, but they don't want it over processed.
For the last 5 years, I have knit and crochet with pretty much every yarn we have in the shop. Mm-hmm. And pretty much every yarn we have in the shop, I have come across at least one twig, like one piece of grass.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot in Noro, but again, they like it's a crunchy yarn in terms of like not literally crunchy, but granola type, you know, earthy crunchy.
It's underprocessed.
Underprocessed is the technical
term. Everybody likes Noro for the colors.
Yes.
You don't
and some
necessarily
people who don't like Noro still like Noro's colors.
I found Noro sweaters when I made my Noro sweater. The wind does not go through it, even on a size 11 needle that I knitted on. Like
the wool is like
yeah.
Even with a big
I
stitch.
will armor you against the wind. Mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna wear it right up next to my skin. And most sweaters I'm not going to wear next to my skin anyway, because that means there's going to be more washing involved. And, you know.
Even yarns that are considered super soft, like alpaca, for some people it might still itch against their neck.
Yeah.
So it's such like a variable question. It's like person dependent. So it's really hard, because if I say, no, it's great, and they go, no, it's not. Especially the people who like rub our samples or the yarn against their faces, which still, even though we're not in as contagious a period of COVID, still kind of freaks me out a little bit.
You have a nice soft underarm rub it there, not on your, like,
right? Like even here at the very early days of COVID would gross me out, but that doesn't anymore. But it's the people who are just like, and I'm just like,
well, even pre-COVID, a lot of people put makeup on. And then you rub something. It's like
they forget they have it on.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, so
don't rub yarn on your face.
Try not to, please. You know, we can't stop people. So what is? I have a hook like buried in here. What is going? There's
Rebecca's
such a
excavating while
I squirrel. Y'all know it's all good.
So much.
Okay, so I'm gonna get the couple of kits I made earlier this week. We showed you some of the bright ones, and they're all through the packaging, so go look at them online. But for pressed flowers, and I'm going to also get this. I made a little progress during the week and last night. I'm into this, like, I'm through some purple and into some bright pink on this, which is really fun. But not everyone wants super bright and super dark. And there's at least one person who was like, oh, make me a combo on this show. In a comment, and I'm going to try to email that person. And if you don't get an email from me, please email me or Liz, and she'll pass it on to me. Because comments on the shows, we try to get back to them all, but we might lose track. So let me grab those real fast. I made, I think, only one shawl kit and a couple of hat cowl kits. Okay. So our small kits are for the hat or a small cowl. Cowl has various sizes. It really is, if you don't want to get 4 skeins of yarn, if you only want to get 2, the cowl is going to be the size when you run out of yarn. Basically, it's the small or a little longer. So I put together Absolute Zero from Feederbrook Entropy. It really is just like whites and a few shades of blue. It's very neutral, or it's just soft compared to some of the other ones. And then the new batch of forest that came in that only has mild hints of my really dark forest, I think would look lovely with this. This will be like it's not neutral, but it's a lot calmer of a combo. So this is Absolute Zero and Forest. And then the neutrals with the Patagonia that I wanted to make my sweater out of with the color that I frogged last month are super back ordered with our distributor. They might be coming in mid-April. I've already set up an order, so like when they come in, we'll get them. But it might be late April or May before they do. But we had only like a skein or 2 left of some of these colors, so I put together a kit. But these are non-repeatable until we can get more yarn in. So this one, and it's always hard to see with the reflection, but this one is Dark Matter, has a lot of purples, and a little bit of gray, but a whole lot of purples, color-changing purples in it. And I paired it with the light gray of the Patagonia, which is a heathered. It's a warm light gray, but it's a heathered, really light gray from the Patagonia. I think that would be really, really pretty. And Carol has brought up, like, I'm doing solid background color-changing flowers. Carol has brought up, she's actually using color-changing for both, and she's swapping. And she's like, you could have your solid be your flowers and your color changing be your background. I think both would be awesome. I think all the samples I'm making, I'm pretty much keeping the color changing to the flowers. But I think that is a really neat option. The kits, you should have enough to go either way for the hat, the cowl, or the shawl. Cardigan, you'll have to do the math because there are different amounts needed for the background versus the flowers. So this, we only have, this is what I wanted to do my cardigan out of with the really bright yellows and reds and greens and stuff that I frogged earlier. We only have 1 skein of it. So I paired it with, this is Patagonia Ivory. I paired it with Dark Energy, which is
my favorite.
It's more thistly than Dark Matter. Dark Matter is really all purples. And again, you really can't see. I'll try to, The one with the light gray is all purples, and some are redder purples and stuff. But this one, the purples are mostly a more redder purple.
I have an example of how that crochets.
You have it crochets. And my Avena, that is right here, is an example of how it knits up. I'm doing the Avena with a Fiber Spates pink, and I'll pull that out too. So this is, again, it's the Dark Energy is the color I've got in here, and it's the color that she has crocheted with. And
there's like purples,
in some ways,
and
it is the same pace it might change when you're knitting mosaic with it, because it's changing at a different pace. But yeah, there's purples and there's greens and there's a little bit of grays in it. In some of them, it depends on the skein.
Yep.
So we think that's really pretty too. But those, we only had enough Patagonia to make a small kit. So last kit that I made, this one is with Patagonia and Feederbrook Entropy Potential Energy. And this is potentially a one-off as well, because the Potential Energy this time, sometimes Potential Energy is a lot of greens and maybe a little bit of blues and maybe a little bit of browns. But usually Potential Energy comes in with this kind of greens in it, like super dark greens, and then some lighter. This batch we got in recently is really mossy and almost neon and bright.
And it will go so well with that blue.
And the new hydrangea. Patagonia hydrangea that we got in, it's not quite a powder blue. It's not quite a sky blue. It's kind of between sky blue and robin's egg blue. And it's just really pretty. It's not super light, but this will make a lighter shawl or cowl altogether.
It's very close to hydrangea.
If you know hydrangeas, yay! So those are some new kits I put together. Some of those I can repeat once or twice more. Actually, this month, I think we've already sold one of these kits, and I put together another. I might be able to do one more of the Absolute Zero and the Forest. Most of this, currently, we don't have enough to put together other kits. A lot of these are pretty much one of a kind. Based on the inventory we have, we're trying to pull more inventory in from Feederbrook, but her stuff takes a little while because she is a small producer and has a lot of orders to fill and a lot of things to do, and it's lambing season right now. Yep. I've been seeing up in Maryland and on her Instagram page, she's dealing with lambing season, so that's a whole nother reason we might not get it right away. And when we get it in next time, it might not be the same. We might not be able to pull the same kit together. So if you saw anything here that you liked, go to our website to the kit section or the make-along section for the pressed flowers. I think I have some headers like right at the bottom of the homepage to take you there too. And grab it while you can. So that when we bundle yarns together for these make-alongs, you save a little money buying what we have bundled together. It's just the yarn. It is not the pattern, because some of these are geared towards multiple patterns. So you pick the pattern on your own or ask us and we help you get it. It's not the needles. It's like, because there's a lot of people who already have needles, and we fully respect those who don't have them yet. Let us help you get the right needles for the project too. So, but when we bundle them and you like our combo, you save a little money versus going and pulling the colors you want yourself. If we help you build a kit separate from these bundles, they will be full price gains, because they're not ones that we have taken out of inventory and done all the magic with. So, but we still want to help you find the thing that's going to work for you. I'm like, I've got a, no, it's fine. Squirrel. So I was going to say, I have 2 sets. If you're local or close enough by, I have 2 sets of classes for different things for the pressed flowers make along. This is not virtual. Like, our people, like, we even have local people or local-ish people saying, so when are you meeting on Zoom for this, and when is it for the make-along? We don't have separate time set aside just for the make-alongs, because we're already committing so much of our time to virtual sit and stitch and in-person things and all these other things. We're not going to set up a separate meeting time for just the make-along. And having an in-person only make-along session is also challenging because we have so many people who are doing the make-along all over the place. We may not have that many local people.
We do have the Facebook page.
We have the Facebook. We have other ways. What Liz is saying is we have other ways to share what you're doing. So we don't do make-alongs that have a fee, and then you get to come to the assigned time and maybe get help because you paid that fee. We have the Facebook page. It's Sundragon MAL, where we're showing off things we're doing from current and past make-alongs. We have Tuesday and Friday nights are virtual, or just open virtual sit and stitch. It's not like you can only attend if you're doing the make-along. We could totally have structured it that way, where you pay a fee and then you have this select time, and we don't do that, though.
A lot of people on our sit and stitch times are working on the make-along. Mm-hmm. Like, or, Carol started her make-along early.
We have a lot of people who start early because they see me doing it and they're like, I gotta do it. And I'm like, okay, it's all good. Yay.
Some of them I participate in, and some of them I don't.
And both in-person, so in-person sit and stitch is Wednesday morning, like 10 to 12, and Saturday afternoon, 1 to 4. And those are outside, weather dependent. And all of the sit and stitch groups, there are times if you want to come ask questions, maybe the group can help. And I might volunteer some information, but I won't be doing like serious instruction, because that is funneled to different times and areas. And I feel for the people who are far away who can't do the in-person lessons. I'm going to probably do some basic videos in April on just mosaic technique, that kind of thing, which hopefully can help some of the faraway viewers. But it really is take the class, and I'll go over the schedule for that in just a second, or set up a one-on-one appointment in person with me here, or come to the drop-in help time. Appointments and drop-in help have fees associated with them. If it warrants instruction, there will be a fee for it. So, and the classes, I've got them written over there so I can kind of see them. So the hat or the cowl, we're breaking it, there's 4 patterns, and we're breaking it into 2 different sessions. Session A is the hat and the cowl, and I'll get people going on whichever one they want, and we'll talk about mosaic and all that good stuff. That is April 8th and 22nd. They are Saturdays. I almost said Fridays. I don't know why. They are Saturday mornings, 2 weeks apart. And more details on that, if you're interested, contact us. And then the shawl or the cardigan, which have different levels of complication to them. But the shawl and the cardigan will be taught as session B, and I'll be working with people where they are, and that is April 15th and May 6th. That's 3 weeks apart, but part of that is because other classes and then local yarn store day are going to interfere. We're not going to have classes on local yarn store day. We hope to be very busy on that day. We're not going to have classes on that day. We're also not going to have classes at the beginning of April because there is a cycling event in town. It will be a hot mess. And I just thought about how the cycling event's going to happen on Main Street, and Main Street's not going to be done. And that's going to be such a hot mess. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
It's a day when we have to be here before the crack of dawn.
So we can get to parking or park other places. Yeah. And we're not going to put anyone else through trying to find parking to come to a class with us. Like, it might not, I don't think we'll be swarmed with shoppers on that day, but getting to us will be challenging. So we're not going to put anyone through that. So anyway, I could go on, right? And I have gone on. So we're going to wrap up because we have about 10 minutes till the shop opens. But tomorrow night is one of those virtual sit and stitch opportunities on Zoom from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern U.S. time with the shop phone number.
828-877-3550.
You put that into the Zoom meeting code thing and you will find us. And we're not going to have a Sunday one for quite some time. It's going to be like April 23rd for our next Sunday afternoon whiz-bang all afternoon thing. But yeah, I think we've filled time with enough info. Not as many fun stories. Well, maybe a little bit of balance between fun stories and info this time. Sometimes we gotta do the info. But, I mean, half of these kits I put together, I'm like, I want to make that. I want to make that. Last thing I'll say is I am trying a hat sample with, I told you all that, this is Feederbrook and Fiber Spates. She may just be going out to the table because she wants to hang. This is Feederbrook and Fiber Spates, and I have leftovers from a shawl that is Feederbrook and Fiber Spates, and the hat is written for sport weight, and this is a heavy DK. Like, we've been doing all of these kits with Patagonia because it's a thinner DK, so it's closer to sport weight. I'm testing to see if a thicker DK will still make a decent hat, and we'll see if I can get this done in the next week and a half or so, or at least enough to see if it's going to be the right size or way too big. You may have noticed that none of these kits have Fiber Spates in them, and that's because our inventory on Fiber Spates is kind of low right now, and we're working to boost that. It doesn't mean, I'm going to use double negative, it doesn't mean you can't use it. If you would like to use Fiber Spates for your shawl, you can totally pull together your own combo. But what I would do is, if you're worried about what colors go with what colors, contact us. We're not putting kits together with that because we have so little inventory of that left until we get more in, which might be a while. We've been trying for a few months now, and that's a cash flow thing, to be totally transparent. So contact us if you really want Fiber Spates as part of your combo. And we're letting the machine take that. We will get back to them because we still have a little under 10 minutes until the shop opens. So We will talk to y'all later. And they hung up. Bye. Have a good weekend.